Okay, you should be on page 275 of your GoMath workbook. We're going to work through some of these problems, remembering that we are doing two multi-digit. So you have to remember to place the 0 or the X. All right, so we're going to start out with number 2. And the problem is 7.3 times 9.6. All right, so we first start out multiplying 7.3 times 6. Remembering that we want to kind of get an idea about what our answer is going to be. So we're going to kind of round. So 7.3 would round to 7, and 9.6 would round to 10. Sorry, those are really sloppy. Let me erase that. So our answer is going to be somewhere near 70. All right, that's going to be a reasonable answer. So 6 times 3 is 18. We're going to carry the 1. 6 times 7 is 42, plus 1 is 43. Now we're going to go to the 9, and we need to put a placeholder, either an X or a 0. And we're going to say 9 times 3 is 27, carry the 2. 9 times 7 is 63, plus 2 is 65. And then we're going to add just like we normally do when we multiply. 8 plus nothing is 8. 7 plus 3 is 10, carry the 1. 1 plus 4 is 5, plus 5 is 10 again. And then 6 plus 1 is 7. So we have 7,008. And our answer is supposed to be near 70. So we need to look at our decimal points, and we need to find how many digits are behind. We have 1, 2 digits behind. So that means we're going to take our decimal point, which currently is here because it's 7,008. So every number has a decimal point. It's just we don't write them when it's a whole number. We only write them when it's a part of a number. So we're going to move this decimal point over 2 places. So 1 place, 2 place. And then to double check our work, we see that there's 1, 2 digits behind the decimal, just like in the 2 problems above. So our answer is 70.08. All right. So we have done that problem together. All right, we're going to do the evens together. And at the end of the lesson, I'm going to go back and I'm going to write down the answers for the odds so that you can have more practice if you like. All right, so we're going to skip to number 4. And I would like for you to write down 29.5 times 1.5. And I would like for you to go ahead and pause the video and do that work on your own. And then come back and double check your work by watching me solve the problem. Go ahead and pause your video. All right, welcome back. We're going to go ahead and do this problem. Before we start, we're going to get a reasonable answer. So we look at 29.5, and we're going to round that to 30. And 1.5, we're going to round that to 2. So our answer is going to be somewhere around 60. All right. Might be a lot less than that because 1.5, both 0.5s are kind of close to the 29 mark, and the 1 mark in terms of like 0.4 would keep it at that. So it's going to be probably on the lower end of close to 60. So now to do the multiplication, 5 times 5 is 25. 5 times 9 is 45, plus 2 is 47. 5 times 2 is 10, plus 4 is 14. We've taken care of all the things we need to multiply by 5. So we're going to go down, we're going to put a placeholder in, and then we're going to multiply 1 times everything. So we know that 1 times 29.5 is going to be 29.5, or 1 times 295 is going to be 295. So I'm just going to go ahead and write 5, 9, 2. All right, now we have to add. So 5 plus nothing is 5. 5 plus 7 is 12. Carry the 1. 9 and 1 is 10, plus 4 is 14. And 2 plus 1 plus 1 is 4. Okay? Now, our answer is going to be somewhere in the 60s, or somewhere near 60. All right? So right now we have 4,425. So we want our answer to be somewhere around, reasonably close to 60. The decimal point currently is right here. But when we go back up into our problem and we look behind the decimals that we have, we see that we are there's 2 digits behind the decimal, so we need to move this over 2 spaces. So 44.25 will be our answer. What did I do wrong? Yeah. Guess what? I didn't do anything wrong, but the answer key is wrong. So we're good here. The answer key in the book is wrong. I need to make a mark on that so that when I do teach in person, we have the right answer. All right, sorry about that. I'm not going to delete this video because we've already gone this far, but this is the correct answer. All right, we're going to skip 5 and we're going to move to 6. So let me erase these. I'd like for you to write down number 6, 9.07 times 6.5. And I would like for you to go ahead and do that problem, and then we'll come back and work it out together. All right, welcome back. We're going to go ahead and estimate what we think the answer is going to be. 9.07 rounds to 9. 6.5 rounds to 7. So our answer will be somewhere near 63. A reasonable answer will be in the 60s or 50s or 70s, but close to that. So we're going to go ahead and start multiplying. 5 times 7 is 35. Carry the 3. 5 times 0 is 0 plus 3 is 3. 5 times 9 is 45. Come down. Put our placeholder. 6 times 7 is 42. Carry the 4. 6 times 0 is 0 plus 4 is 4. 9 times 6 is 54. And then we're going to add. 5 and nothing is 5. 3 plus 2 is 5. 5 plus 4 is 9. 4 plus 4 is 8. And 5. So we have 58,955 currently as our answer. And our answer should end up to be around 63. So if we look at this, we know right now that probably our decimal is going to end right between the 8 and the 9, because that would make the answer near 60. But let's go ahead and double check to make sure. We're going to look behind our decimal. Oops. We're going to look behind our decimal. We have 2 spaces behind this decimal and 1 here, so we're going to move our decimal 3 points. 1, 2, 3, 3 places, I should say. So we're going to end up with 58.955. All right. Move on to number 8 and write down write down 61.84 times 5.6. Go ahead and pause your video and solve that. All right, welcome back. We're going to solve this problem 8. 6 times 4 is 24. Carry the 2. 6 times 8 is 48, plus 2 is 50. Carry the 5. 6 times 1 is 6, plus 5 is 11. Carry the 1. 6 times 6 is 36, plus 1 is 37. Put an X down to hold the place, and now we're going to take care of the second digit. 5 times 4 is 20. Carry the 2. 5 times 4 is 40, plus 2 is 42. Carry the 4. 5 times 1 is 5, plus 4 is 9. And then 5 times 6 is 30, plus nothing is 30. I'm going to add now. 4, 0, 3, 16, 4, 3. And then we have 346,304, but we know, well, we actually forgot to do this, but we'll go do this now. 61.8 should round to be about 62, and 5.6 would round to be about 60. We'll take this at 60 times 6 would be about 360. So once you get into the bigger numbers, you're going to run around to whole numbers, so it's easier to do a quick multiplication problem. So instead of 61 here, I rounded to 60. So 60 times 6 is just 6 times 6 is 36, plus 1 0 is 360. So we're going to move our decimal point over. We're going to count to double check. There are 3 spots behind the decimal. So we're going to move our decimal over 1, 2, 3. So we have 346.304. All right. And let's erase these. And look at number 10. 10 is 53.8 times 0.9. Okay, so 53 would round to 50 times 9, which would be 9 times 5 is 45, and add a 0. Got about 450. That's what our answer is going to be, somewhere around. All right, that's a reasonable answer, somewhere near 450. All right, go ahead and pause your video and work that out. Welcome back. We have 9 times 8 is 72. Carry the 7. 9 times 3 is 27, plus 7 is 34. Carry the 3. 9 times 5 is 45, plus 3 is 40. Oops, you know what? When I wrote, let me just realize. Now, here's where we made a mistake. So let's 45 plus 3 is 48. Here, I realized when I got this answer that my reasonable answer was not going to be correct. All right. So at that point, I had to go back and I had to look. This is not times 9. This was a mistake on my part. Okay. And here's the thing about this. As you're working and you're doing your math, you're going to make mistakes, but you have to realize that you made them. All right. So I was thinking that 450 would be about the right answer, but then I know there's going to be 2 decimals here, so I know there's something that I did wrong because I'm going to move over 2. So my answer is 48.42, but here I said 450. Well, that's because this was 0.9, not 9. All right, and 0.9 is close to 1. And so that would change my reasonable answer. That would change my reasonable answer to about 50. And when I look at this, 48.42 is definitely about 50. Okay? So as you work through, everybody's going to make careless mistakes in math. It's up to you to double check your work, all right? And think while you're doing the work. All right? I realized once I got this answer that is not anywhere near what I thought was reasonable. Okay? So you have to think throughout this whole process. You have to think, does this make sense? Is it reasonable? All right? Okay, let's look at 11 and 12. Aretha runs a marathon in 3.25 hours. Neil takes 1.6 times as long to run the marathon. How many hours does it take Neil to run the marathon? So 3.25 is how much time it takes Aretha to run. But Neil runs it in 1.6. 1.6 times as much as her. So we're going to multiply to find out how many hours it takes Neil to run. So 6 times 5 is 30. 6 times 2 is 12, plus 3 is 15. 6 times 3 is 18, plus 1 is 19. Leave a place to hold the mark to hold the place. 1 times 5 is 5. 1 times 2 is 2. 1 times 3 is 3. And then we add. I go back and I count. 1, 2, 3. I move my decimal over. 1, 2, 3. 5.2 hours for Neil to run. All right. Now let's look at number 12. 12 says, Tiffany catches a fish that weighs 12.3 pounds. Frank catches a fish that weighs 2.5 times as much as Tiffany's fish. How many pounds does Frank's fish weigh? So in this instance, we're going to multiply. 5 times 3 is 15. 5 times 2 is 10, plus 1 is 11. 5 times 1 is 5, plus 1 is 6. Bring down, make a placeholder. 2 times 3 is 6. 2 times 2 is 4. 2 times 1 is 2. And then we're going to add. 5 plus nothing is 5. 6 and 1 is 7. 6 plus 4 is 10. Carry the 1. And we end up with 30. Count how many places there are behind the decimal. And move my decimal over. 1, 2, to make sure that there are 2 places behind. So my answer is 30.75 pounds. All right. All right. If you would like to go back through and do the odds, I'm going to go ahead and put down the answers, and hopefully the grade book is right. If you don't get the correct answer, double check your work and then use a calculator to double check the answer that I'm writing up, because I'm just writing it straight from the grade book, and we've already seen that one of them is wrong. So 3, your answer will be 37.04. And 5, your answer should be 18.048. 7, your answer should be 31.626. And this is only if you think you need more practice. And 9 is 140.55 or 140.550. Those are exactly the same answer. Usually your teachers allow you to drop the 0 at the end. Sometimes somebody might be a stickler, especially if it's asking for it to be rounded to the nearest 10 hundredths or thousandths or whatnot, and they'll want to see that 0 there. So you need to make sure you're following the directions as your teacher has laid them out for you. All right. And one thing I'd like to remind you, it doesn't take me as long to do this math because I know my multiplication facts. All right. Learn your multiplication facts, learn your addition facts, learn your subtraction facts so that you can do this work more quickly. All right. 6th grade is going to be really tough if you don't know your multiplication facts. That is Mrs. Life's information of the day. All right. See you later.